and a very warm welcome to this special. It is Rajasthan Royals versus the Lucknow Super Giants tonight in the IPL. Two teams that are sitting comfortable in the top two positions of the points table this season in the IPL. For the Rajasthan Royals, they have followed the ultra-aggressive batting template from the very first match and looks like one of the strongest, most well-balanced team on paper. The Giants believe in starting slowly. Some do not like that approach, but they have been finishing well. It's the 16 CR man, Nicholas Pooran, who is doing the job perfectly for them. So if you compare the two sides, and when it comes to their bowling, it is Rajasthan who have been much better, though the purple cap race is right now between Yuzvendra Chahal and Mark Wood, who've both got 11 wickets, but Chahal has a better economy. All right, joining me are two gentlemen here on the show who I love discussing cricket with, who also, I think one of them, I can definitely say, has a very strong opinion about most things when it comes to cricket, but the other always tries to balance things out. Nevertheless, these are two gentlemen I know who understand cricket more than most of the people that I've met. Jamie Alter joins me here on the show, and also joining me is Anand Vasu. So let's get straight into it. Yesterday we were discussing two teams that were at the bottom of the table. Today, table toppers Rajasthan Royals. They've shown Jamie that they can go all the way, just like they did last year, but they're actually looking better this time around. And the way they won against Gujarat Titans, you felt like this team can go all the way to the finals. And then on the other side, you have someone who has a completely different philosophy to Rajasthan Royals, where they like to start slow, but they end up finishing well. How do you look at this this game tonight?
No, it's going to be a really fun game also because of the two teams. But the Sawai Mansingh Stadium in Jaipur, we've seen both spinners from the Rajasthan team have already commented on how excited they are to play here. It's also it's a homecoming for Rajasthan. They've not played here for, 3 seasons now? And I'm sure we're going to get a packed house. You mentioned, Meha, the different approach of Joss Buttler and then KL Rahul. I know the other man on this show also has very strong views. But I also want to circle back to, the fact that how close Rajasthan were from being 5-0. That match they lost to Punjab by a mere 5 runs. And I know Anand also has views on this because we were engaging on Twitter. Sending Ashwin as an opener when Joss Buttler could not make the cut in time. He did come out to bat at the fall of the first wicket. But those 4 balls that Ashwin ate up were not scoring runs. I'm not saying that's where the match was lost. But it's these small margins which often come back to bite you. And in the only match they've lost so far, just by 5 runs, I think having a specialist opener. You have Devdutt Padikkal, who's made a name for himself by opening. But that day, choosing Ashwin, as good, as smooth, as clinical have Rajasthan have been, a couple of decisions now and then have made me, and I know Anand, scratching our heads.
Okay, so that was about Rajasthan Royals, but for Lucknow Super Giants, there's been a lot of conversation around KL Rahul, Anand. I know we're going to discuss this in detail because you and Jamie both have strong opinions on this. But just looking at this approach now for LSG, do you think this might come back to bite them? I know they're sitting in the 2nd position right now, but in a tournament like this, well begun is job half done. So in that sense, do you think that's a problem with LSG?
It's a definite problem, and it's definitely going to come back to bite them at some point. I don't think it's so much an approach on their part as a bit of a struggle at the moment at the top of the order. KL Rahul is looking to find his feet again, looking to get back into the kind of fluent, free-stroking, aggressive batting that he was so good at till very recently. I don't think he's playing as slowly as he is out of choice, as a bit of mental confusion over whether to go hard or give himself a chance to get a bit of a look in. Deepak Hooda is another one. I don't think it's by design that he's playing at the strike rate that he is. Players can say as much as they want that strike rates don't matter and they just play the situations. But if you get used to playing at a certain strike rate, it's much harder to lift. Whereas on the other hand, if you are used to playing at a high strike rate, and there's a day when you're only chasing 120, it's much easier to drop down a gear. So I don't think they're playing like this out of design. I don't think the approach is necessarily to start slowly and finish big, which is also risky because that puts so much on your finisher. The finishers in both these sides have done well so far in this tournament, but one good ball, one that shoots low, that's all that's the difference between a finisher making a huge impact with very little margin for error and the team crashing and burning at the end. So I don't think this is out of design. I think this is a struggle right now for KL Rahul and his top order.
Jamie, do you agree though? Is it not the mindset of KL Rahul? Yes, he is somebody who's got the fastest 50 in IPL. So we know that's the kind of range that he has. That's the pedigree, the skill that KL Rahul has. There's no question about it. But strike rate has been a problem and it's only gotten worse. Is it just lack of form, not being able to strike the ball well? What seems to be happening? Or is it just him saying, listen, I'm going to take these many number of balls before I start going for my shots? And when he does end up going for those shots, he ends up getting caught in the deep. So what seems to be happening? I'm also going to just talk about the strike rate. 2016 to 2018, he was striking at 152. 2019 to 2022, 134. This year, he's striking at 113.
Yeah, it's a strange one. I think all of us at some point on some platform or the other have expressed our views or we've been asked our views. And I agree with Anand. I think he's sort of stuck in this situation where he's not sure how to get back. But there definitely seems to be, I don't know how much of it is just pure cricketing explanation, Maya, and how much of it is actually what's going on between the ears, right? Because you put up some fantastic stats right now. This is KL Rahul. He's got a 14 or 15 ball half century in the IPL. He's done amazing things as a T20 opener. And then one fine day, something changes. We can pontificate on the fact that he's coming back after surgery and all this stuff. But I think that phase is gone. It's something which I just don't understand where it comes from. It's not like, he's had to change something. I've said it before and I'll say it again. This guy, KL Rahul, was doing almost Surya Kumar Yadav-like things not too long ago. The shots, the pickup shots. I mean, it's imprinted in my mind when he got that 100 against Hyderabad or Delhi. I forgot who it was. But one of these shots, Sky is doing that now. This guy was doing this a long time ago, even at the international level, that 100 he got in Florida. These are high-class T20 hundreds. Something along the way is gone amiss. And I'd go as far as say that it's a bit of stubbornness, I mean, he does that. He does the whole blocking out the noise. But I think that's just an act. I think it's gotten to him and something inside his system is just so stubborn now that he's just not willing to change it. I agree with Anand that change is very hard to get back into a certain way of batting. But I don't think it's beyond KL Rahul. It's just something is just not right with his thinking. And unfortunately, it's costing his team. Was it 4 or 5 years, 500 plus runs, if not top highest run getter than top 3? Where did the Punjab franchise finish all those years? Last, second last, 7th. So it's clearly not doing his team. I think that is where he has to be held accountable. It seems like he's just playing more for numbers. And when your team doesn't do well, I know last time Lucknow made it to the playoffs, they're beaten by Rajasthan in the eliminator or qualifier 2. But those 4 or 5 years at Punjab, whatever their name was, he kept getting runs, but the team was just so bad. And I think that is the biggest factor right there.
Yeah, I like the way he said whatever their name was, because Punjab kept changing the names. Their fortune hasn't changed though. But there is something out there that one can't quite put their finger on. What seems to be going on with KL Rahul? The other thing being, Anand, does it rub off on the others then? You have a Joss Butler who starts like the way he does, and see what Yashasvi Jaiswal is doing now. You see what Sanju Samson comes in and does. Everybody in that Rajasthan lineup, they have decided this is what is going to be our way of batting, and this is how we're going to bat. Whereas in Lucknow, now you see that top 3 to 4, they are struggling. It is really Nicholas Puran and Marcus Stoinis who have come out and helped them. So in that sense, do you feel like that rubs off on other players?
I can't see how it doesn't rub off. When players might say that they're unaffected by what's happening at the other end, but I can't see how that doesn't put extra pressure on those who are batting alongside someone who's playing at a modest scoring rate. Because there are only 120 balls available. If someone is playing quite a few of them for not very many runs, it means the others have to lift much heavier load. So I'm sure it must be having an effect on the other batsmen. And I think it's it's the lack of clarity in thinking more than anything else that is really confusing to all of us. With Rahul, for example, in recent games, he's been knocking it around for singles inside the power play when the field is, when there's wide open spaces outside the circle. And then after that, when he suddenly realizes that he's getting stuck, when the field is spread, he tries to play the big shot and holds out to someone in the deep. Yeah. Even basic logic would suggest that you do the opposite. On good batting surfaces, which is what 90% of these IPL games will be played on, especially early on in the tournament, I don't see how a conservative upfront approach is going to yield results consistently. You even take a team like Chennai, which is perhaps doesn't have the kind of firepower of Rajasthan Royals. Even there, you look at all the batsmen who come in, they try to kick on, they try to push on. If a wicket falls, the next person who comes in still tries to keep going. Their first real anchor kind of player is Dhoni, who comes in at number 8, if he at all has to. So I think you'll find that there will be days when the pitch is a little slower, is turning a lot, when you might have to take your time in the middle overs. But when you have good pitches, I don't think this approach of keeping wickets in hand for the end is going to work consistently.
And there's also a certain Quinton de Kock, Jamie, who's waiting on the sidelines, who needs to get in. This is a good match really against Rajasthan Royals, who are a very strong side. How do you keep someone like a Quinton de Kock out? And even with, Kyle Mayers, I mean, yes, consecutive 50s in the first 2 games, hasn't been able to do much after that. Deepak Hooda then is also not scoring runs. So is it time to get Quinton de Kock in today?
I think it is because, look, as good as Kyle Mayers has been, and let's face it, he's been striking far faster and far stronger than KL Rahul is in the power play. If Lucknow have got off to strong starts, it's largely because of Kyle Mayers. Started off with 2 whirlwind 50s, then they duck 1 poor score. Last match got 29 again at a pretty healthy strike rate, but perhaps, he's maybe overstayed his welcome only because, Meha, it's Quinton de Kock we're talking about, a guy who's played a lot of international cricket. It was just weeks ago that he got a whirlwind T20 100 against West Indies. He's a guy who plays leagues, and he's been such a pivotal part of that Mumbai Indians team in all those titles they won. So if it were somebody else, I would have said, okay, let's give Kyle Mayers. Also, Meha, just like Marcus Stoinis is not being used as a bowler, KL Rahul and the management is not even going to Kyle Mayers. Now, I think Kyle Mayers is a perfect fit in any T20 side when he's batting up front and he's bowling. We've seen the CPL, even West Indies, he comes and just bowls 2 overs at the, up front, often gets wickets. When he's not being given the ball, I think it's time to bring in de Kock. Because look, Lucknow are number 2 right now, but it's a very fickle league. We spoke about it yesterday. When the pressure starts to get amped up, very few teams are able to, call on or trust on the whole machinery they have. Yeah. And I would just want someone like de Kock, even if he doesn't, hit the ground running, just what he brings to the table. He's also a very good keeper. Tough on Mayers, but 5 matches, you've done decently.
Do you agree though, Anand? Or should he be given another game, Kyle Mayers, given how he struck the ball in the first game, even the second one? I mean, it's a little unfortunate, but should he be given another game, or should they get Quinton de Kock in?
Well, I don't think it's so much a question of how disappointing it would be for Kyle Mayers as to when is the right time to bring Quinton de Kock into the mix. And I think game against Rajasthan in Rajasthan is perhaps not that time, because you're going to get 12 overs of spin, of quality spin, on a pitch that was going to be favouring the home side. They're going to play in spin-friendly conditions, and you've got Ashwin, you've got Zampa, you've got Chahal. These are 3 bowlers who I think would have Quinton de Kock tied up a little bit, especially early on in his innings. So I would just wait 1 more game. I don't think it'll make that much of a difference. I think Myers, stick with Myers for this game, and when you get to a venue where you have a slightly more true batting surface, a good batting surface, then unleash Quinton de Kock, let him hit the ground running, let him get some confidence, and then perhaps you can stick with him.
We're going to, in fact, discuss this lethal spin trio that Rajasthan have got, and especially here where they already have a winning percentage of 68. And as you rightly said, the conditions are going to favor spinners because of these three really great, spinners. But let's now shift focus to Rajasthan's batting, Jamie. If LSG have the problems in their batting with Rajasthan, there's no such thing. Their top order has done well. Even when they've shuffled players at the top, they've got R. Ashwin there. The others have done well. Jos Buttler really carrying on from where he left off in last IPL, that orange cap holder. Then, Yashasvi Jaiswal, after a fantastic domestic season, comes in and performs well. They really don't have any problems. The only problem I feel here is that maybe these guys are all peaking at the right time, Everybody seems to be doing well, except maybe a Riyan Parag.
No, definitely. They have the talent. And like I said earlier, just not being able to figure out where best to bat a proven opener like Devdutt Padikkal, it's probably it's a problem that Rajasthan will probably happily take. They don't have any shortcomings as such, If David Miller was the finisher of IPL 2022, so far Shimron Hetmeyer looks like the man because he's just nothing gets to him, I felt that perhaps he's batting a spot too low, but then you look at the options, there really isn't anyone. Also, when he's doing so well in a certain role, that last match, full credit to Sanju Samson for kickstarting that revival. But Shimron Hetmeyer finishing the match, with a 50 off 25 balls. So everything is sort of in place. And look, Jos Buttler has had fantastic years. He started off fantastically. He got 2 poor matches. So law of averages says that there's no better time for Jos Buttler to come back and remind the Jaipur fans, the home fans, what he can do. Again, Riyan Parag, he didn't have scores in, 4 matches. I don't think he crossed 25.
Yeah.
2 of the scores were single-digit scores. So he's not done enough to merit a place. If there is one problem, it's just if they have to bring in someone, do they go for Devdutt Padikkal? Do they go for Riyan Parag? Yes, Riyan Parag offers a lot when he gets going, but I think between the two, Devdutt Padikkal is a far more dependable player. Other than that, as critical as I was of Ashwin opening, when he comes in, if you have someone like him coming at number 7, 8, but last match he had 10 off 2 balls and got out, batting pretty much sorted as far as I'm concerned.
Do you see any changes, Anand, in Rajasthan's batting? I know the batting order has been shuffled with Ashwin coming in at one point at the top of the order. But any other changes? Do you see that what happened against Gujarat Titans is, it's given them a chance to really figure out what their best batting combination is, in the sense that, Devdutt Padikkal at number 3, he's got decent scores there. Ashwin comes down. The fact that they want to give Shimron Hetmeyer those last 5 overs, they've got that settled after the last game in the way they played against Gujarat Titans?
Yes, and I don't think you can expect too many changes. The batting orders are very fluid in this tournament, and especially with a team that is slightly creative and intellectual characters. You have 2 in the Royals camp in Ashwin and Kumar Sangakkara, so you can fully expect to see some surprises. Ashwin will bat at different positions. Other players also will float up and down. That's going to happen. But like Jamie said, I think the only question is really around Riyan Parag. But as much as we on the outside ask those questions, it seems that the management backs him to the hilt. They have now for quite a while. It's not just this IPL. So they see something in him. They see something in him as a long-term fixture in their team. So I guess they're going to keep backing him at the moment. And if you do get a certain number of chances, someone with his talent is going to come good.
Okay, so Jos Buttler just continues to dazzle, as we've been saying, like only he can, and he also loves batting in Jaipur, averages 54 strikes at 143. The one thing that LSG might look to do, Jamie, is to get possibly Amit Mishra and Ravi Bishnoi to bowl at him. He does struggle a bit against leg spin.
He does, and the stats will show as much. But again, Maya, it's Jos Buttler we're talking about. I remember the 2021 T20 World Cup that happened in the UAE. There was a match England Sri Lanka, and Jos Buttler really struggled, and they kept on bowling Hasaranga and a couple of other spinners, and the power play was very weak. But after the power play, something flicked on inside Josh Butler, and he went on to that match-winning 100, where not a lot of England players scored. If that kind of Josh Butler turns up today, yes, Amit Mishra is a fantastic option. I think it's been 2 matches since he's not gotten a chance.
Yeah.
If there's a good chance for him, like Anand said, on this Sawai Mansingh track and against leg spin, it's going to be Amit Mishra. But again, it's Josh Butler, so you never know. He'll be happy to just knock it around, and then 1 over 25, 26 runs, and you could be seeing Josh Butler with a match-winning 100. He's just that kind of player.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, how impressed have you been with Sanju Samson as a captain, as a player, Anand?
Well, I think the most heartwarming thing about Sanju Samson this season is that he looks like he's going to show a bit of consistency finally. Because over the years, what we've seen with Sanju Samson is that he has one very big score early on in the tournament and then kind of tapers off and doesn't really do that much after that. He's able to also take on the spinners, which is, I think, a very important aspect of batting in that just outside the power play, which is typically where he comes into bat. So I think he plays a very, very important role, even when he's batting with a Butler or a Jaiswal or any of those people in the top order. The confidence he gives against the spinners is only bound to help the other batsmen. And if it's a turning track, and as Jamie pointed out, Butler is perhaps looking just to be a little conservative against the spinners, Amit Mishra is an experienced hand, and he could put anyone on the back foot if there's a bit of assistance on the surface. In a situation like that, Sanju Samson is able to release the pressure a little bit, work the ball around a bit more, find the boundaries even against slightly good balls. In that sense, he's a great asset to have at the top of the order against quality spin bowling. I think that's the thing that the team will be turning to him most for. In terms of hitters and people going at a quick pace, they have enough of those at the other end. I mean, you have Butler, you have Jaiswal, literally everyone in the top 5 just keeps going hard at the ball.
Yeah.
So I think Sanju's role will be a little bit to absorb that pressure against the spinners if it's building, and try and find a way to put the pressure back on the spinners.
Do you think this game really will be won in the power plays, especially when it comes to Rajasthan Royals, as we've seen in the past, both with the bat and the ball, Anand? With the way they get going with the bat, with Jaiswal and Josh Butler, and then Trent Bolt comes in, and I think 2 to 3 matches where he's got 2 wickets in the first 2 overs itself. Is that where the game will be won or lost?
I think that's where the game will be set up. It's not so much, it's how restricted a team can be in that, because it's going to be very tough to score runs against the spinners in the middle overs. There's no doubt about it. The best time perhaps to attack all out will be in the power play. But how do you do that against someone like Trent Bolt? It doesn't matter what the conditions are, it doesn't matter what the surface is, it doesn't matter what the weather is like, he always swings the new ball. He always brings the new ball into the right-hand batsman. And he has that one that straightens and goes away. So you can't commit and just hit through the line against a player of Bolt's quality. And as you pointed out, Meha, he always picks up wickets in his first spell. Whether it's for New Zealand or whether it's now at the IPL, he's just got that knack of landing the ball in the right spot early on. He doesn't waste any deliveries. You don't get any looseners from him. And because he's looking for swing at that stage, you don't get anything that's short or wide. He's going to be full. He's going to be attacking the stumps, which means as a batsman, if you miss, there's very little chance that you're going to survive.
And no prizes for guessing who has a weakness against Trent Bolt's incoming delivery. There's a certain KL Rahul on the other side today. So we'll see how that plays out. But also talk about Nicholas Pooran. Now, Sunrisers Hyderabad released him after putting in a huge amount of money. And then he was bought for even more money. And one wondered, what is it about Nicholas Pooran that everybody keeps putting money on him and keeps buying him in the auction at this huge price? 16 crores is what Lucknow Super Giants paid for him, and he's repaying the faith really because of the way he's batting right now. He is really their best batter at the moment, Anand, and a lot depends on him and his performance, because whatever the slow start that LSG is getting right now, he's the one who is sort of finishing this well. He's striking at 216. The importance of Nicholas Pooran in this team right now.
I think he's a very, very key fixture, because if you're going to have top-order batsmen who are struggling or who are anyway off the mindset to not score at 150, 170 strike rate, then you need a finisher. I think this is exactly why getting your strategy in the auction right makes such a big difference. They might have broken the bank, paid 16 crores for Nicholas Pooran, but without a finisher of his caliber, without someone who can attack mercilessly and fearlessly like him, this team would not be where it is in the points table at the moment. And in T20 cricket, in a tournament like the IPL, where you have 14 matches to play, it's not that you need someone to score consistently 35, 40 runs in all the games. What you need is for a player, a big player like Nicholas Pooran, to blow open 4 or 5 games wide.
Yeah.
If you have 2 or 3 players who can turn a game single-handedly, if they do that 2 or 3 times each, that is 7 to 8 games won, which is pretty much putting you into the playoffs. So I think Rajasthan will, they will certainly, 16 crore is certainly money well spent on Pooran. He's delivering exactly the role that was envisioned for him. How many more times he can do that in this tournament? We have to wait and watch.
Yeah, and also can he do it against Rajasthan Royals and the kind of bowling attack that they have? We've already spoken about Trent Bolt, but this this trio of Ashwin, Yuzvendra Chahal and now Adam Zampa, how difficult will it be for teams going forward to bat against them? We've already seen what they've been doing. We've already seen, and you know the difference that they bring. Ashwin's not going to get you, let you take runs. He's going to be economical in every match that he plays more often than not. Chahal's getting you the wickets. Zampa's bowling faster, stump to stump. Again, not letting you get away. 12 overs of these 3 spinners. How difficult will it be for Lucknow Super Giants tonight?
It's going to be very, very difficult. Make no mistake about it. And as you pointed out, the strength in this attack is a variety that it has. Although there are 3 slow bowlers, although there are 3 spinners, 2 of whom are leg spinners, they bowl very, very different styles. Ashwin, of course, is unlike any other bowler that is going around in the world at the moment, in that he uses subtle variations of speed, angles, and point of delivery and things like that to such good effect that there are very few people who have that kind of control in world cricket at the moment. Especially in T20 cricket, I think batsmen have resigned themselves to not going too hard at Ashwin, because if you do, chances are he's going to outwit you. So most of the time you see batsmen playing Ashwin out for maybe 7, 8 runs and over, which is perfectly fine with the Rajasthan Royals. Now, when you do that, you have to attack another bowler. Attacking Adam Zampa is easier said than done, because he's stump to stump and quick, and not necessarily flat, but he's quick through the air. So hitting him straight back down the ground, getting under the ball is a challenge with Zampa. So again, you got accuracy there. And Chahal, well, he's been had a bit of an up and down ride. At one point, he was among the best T20 spinners in the world. Batsmen later found ways to try and unsettle him. But he's got a mix in approach in that he can attack the stumps, but he also uses the wide, full leg spinner to good effect. Sometimes when batsmen are getting used to his attacking the stumps, he can throw it out wide, a bit wide, and make them reach for the ball and fetch for it, and in doing so, not make clean contact. So you've got 3 guys who are very, very intelligent and smart when it comes to bowling in T20 cricket, and 3 guys whose approaches are very different. This is not easy for any set of batsmen to deal with.
Absolutely. And in contrast, I think Lucknow Super Giants, not just problem with their batting, but bowling as well. You have Mark Wood, who's been bowling well, purple cap. You know, he's in that race. Yuzvendra Chahal at the top, Mark Wood in the second position. Both have 11 wickets each. Ravi Bishnoi has been bowling well, but it's the support and maybe lack of consistency from the other bowlers. Because what we've seen in the matches so far with the Lucknow Super Giants is that they've either given away runs where the oppositions ended up scoring more 200 plus, or they've actually been very good and have been difficult to get away with. So, I mean, are you looking at this team now where they will be dealing with inconsistent bowling, and that could be a problem for them?
Yes, to be very honest with you, I'm a bit surprised how well they've done so far and how highly they're placed, because they do have, unlike Rajasthan, which seems to have answers for every question, players for every single slot, and a unit that has come together so organically and beautifully. I think KL Rahul's team is not quite in that place. There's still questions that need to be answered. There's still challenges in front of them. So I expect that even someone like Mark Wood, there are certain days on which he's going to find players who just find his pace and his heat too much to deal with, and he's going to be very, very successful on those days. There are going to be other days where he comes up against batsmen for whom pace is really not that much of an issue in this format, when the ball's not seeming too much. So, pace alone is not going to cut it. There are going to be days when he's going to be very expensive. So, yes, I do think this attack will find it difficult to consistently put pressure on opposition batsmen as the tournament wears on.
Okay, then let's talk about what your predictions are. Tell me the two top scorers from the two teams, and then we'll get into who's going to win this one.
That's a tricky one, but the Rajasthan Royals doesn't pay to look past Joss Buttler. I think he's...
Yeah, that's true.
If I was a betting man, and I'm not, then my money would be on Buttler for sure. KL Rahul is an interesting one. He's taken his time, but he's not yet made that one big score, and he's capable, certainly capable of doing it. It's a question of, and on this pitch against these spinners, you may not need 220. That may not be the score you're looking at.
Yeah.
So KL Rahul might be a good candidate to get back among the runs today.
Okay, and I know that on paper and even the way they've been performing, Rajasthan do have the edge, but how can LSG stop them today?
Well, I think they need to use their bowlers cleverly. They need to use the right bowlers at the right times. Perhaps not be too ambitious about how much of a score they put on the park, but intelligent use of slow bowlers, good fields set specifically for specific batsmen, and bowlers who bowl to those fields. I think that's how they give themselves at least the best possible chance of putting some pressure on Rajasthan, even if it doesn't come off.
Just the last question on Ravi Bishnoi. I know that, he's another bowler that we've seen do well in the IPL, and a lot will depend on him. We've already spoken about how, this bowling is not really good enough. There are going to be days when Mark Wood will go for runs. How do you see Ravi Bishnoi's role in this team?
Oh, it's a very, very important role. And he's a guy who primarily bowls googlies, fast and straight, which has been very successful for multiple leg spinners and mystery bowlers in the start of this season. As the wickets get slower, I think as the pitches get slower, I think that's only going to exaggerate his role more. He's certainly critical to this team's chances. But Meha, could I just add one thing quickly before we sign off, in that this is going to be quite an emotional game as well for the Rajasthan fans, because this will be the first game in Rajasthan, obviously, in a while. It's also the first game there since the great Shane Warne passed away unexpectedly and far too young. He was obviously a very, very popular figure back there, and a talismanic cricketer, led them to victory. So I think it'll be quite an emotional and very interesting kind of return to cricket at the Sawai Mansingh Stadium in Jaipur.
Absolutely. And with that, I think we'll wrap this up. Anand, thank you so much for joining us here on this special. It is the big game, like we said, coming today. Rajasthan Royals versus Lucknow Super Giants. Now, Rajasthan Royals sitting pretty at the top of the table. They won 4 of their 5 matches. Lucknow Super Giants have won 3 of their 5 and will look to stop Rajasthan from the 5-match winning streak. That's it then, or 3-match winning streak. That's it from us. To join us every day at the same time as we preview the game or the match of the day. That's it. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.